Darren, a couple of appointments in the cabinet have proved quite controversial, haven't they?
Indeed they have. Suella Braverman, most of all, Rosie, the Home Secretary. The new Home Secretary has literally, in the last minute or so, walked into Downing Street ahead of a cabinet meeting at 9:30 this morning. Why is it controversial? Well, first of all, she is a pretty controversial, had been Home Secretary, with some of her views, particularly on this issue of deporting asylum seekers to Rwanda and the that she wanted to do that, talking about how she'd dreamed of the fact of doing it. But I think more importantly is this idea that she had resigned last week as Home Secretary, having, she admitted herself, made a mistake by sharing some Cabinet Office documents to another MP and someone else she CC'd in, even though they were meant to be private and confidential. Now, at the time, the then Liz Truss government described this as essentially a breach of the ministerial code. It's why, in the end, she had to resign. And people are now asking this morning, given the fact that that happened literally less than a week ago, why is she back in Cabinet as Home Secretary, given the fact that Rishi Sunak stood in the podium in Downing Street behind me yesterday saying that this will be a government of integrity, professionalism and be held to the highest standards. And many feel that is that compatible. In the end, though, I think our Labour are going to go on this, is Sir Keir Starmer going to go on this at Prime Minister's Question Time a little later on today. I think you bet your bottom dollar he will, because for Labour, for the opposition parties, this gets to the heart of what they think of Rishi Sunak's new government, that it is all talk and no action, and in the end they would argue he's as bad as his predecessors. Now, I think from Rishi Sunak's point of view, he would say Suella Braverman is a very capable politician. We share the same views, he would argue, when it comes to migration, including the implementation of that Rwanda plan, that she will get to grips with the crisis in the English Channel that, frankly, governments have been trying to get to grips with for the last couple of years, that she'll be an effective Home Secretary. Yes, that she made a mistake, that she owned up to it, that everyone deserves a second chance, and I suspect you'll get a pretty robust defence, if you like, from the new Prime Minister. All in all, when we talk about the reshuffle, though, it's largely quite similar faces to the ones that we've seen in previous positions. We've got people like Michael Gove back in, levelling up, Dominic Raab back in at Justice and as Deputy Prime Minister, and indeed lots of, actually, the Cabinet Ministers who served under Liz Truss, Rosie, are still in the same position. James Cleverly as Foreign Secretary, for example, the Northern Ireland Secretary, exactly the same, Chris Heaton-Harris, the Scottish Secretary, etc, etc, etc. So it will be an interesting first Cabinet meeting. We had the last one of Liz Truss only yesterday. We'll have the first one of Rishi Sunak today. And then a big moment, his real, or a second test maybe, after the formation of that Cabinet, PMQs at midday. The second time he's come up against Keir Starmer at the dispatch box. He did it as Chancellor, I think, back in March of 2020. But this will be a very key moment for the new Prime Minister.